Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the rank 1 Protoss in the world. Not the one we deserve, but the one we need right now in the red. A hero. Facing off against the former world champion Terran in the blue. We have Micro Jackson. It's ByuN. In a best of 3 Terran versus Protoss showdown. As part of the first season of the GSL, the Global StarCraft League Tournament of 2026. And before we get started, it seems like we're getting started early. It'd be incredible if you could smash that like button or maybe even subscribe. Let me kind of the algorithm. And Jimmy, what do we have? Yes, it's back. 1,844 likes on this video and this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As already the drama begins, Hero just expanded twice in 2 minutes. As ByuN engineering bay blocked at his natural, Hero slapped down the Nexus at the 3rd, and the moment the SCV was driven away or backed off and canceled the engineering bay, Hero just backed off that Nexus and rebuilt one at his natural. So he pump faked him with a Nexus, and now ByuN, expecting Hero to get a little more aggressive because you have to build a lot of units to defend a Nexus that's further out, is walled off on the high ground and building a command center. Congratulations, you played yourself. Hero. Now, when you cancel a building, you get 3/4 of the resources back. But 1, I'm not sure Hero's able to do math. And 2, it's not about the numbers. It's about the feeling. It's about putting fear in the hearts and the minds of the Terrans, which is not hard to do. They're predisposed to it, but ByuN now thinking he's pushed Hero into a bit of an uncomfortable position. It's a trade-off to engineering bay block early on to make it easier to get an early attack with maybe a medevac or even Cyclone or Hellions. But at the same time, it does cut into your own economy. And ByuN does not have a Reaper, nor does he have an SCV on the map to continue scouting. So Hero is continuing to threaten by scratching the paint on those depots right at the bottom of the ramp. There's a Cyclone on the way, because he doesn't know what Hero's going to do. And that might make 3 of us, but I feel like ByuN has already kind of outplayed himself while Hero is busy going about a relatively standard follow-up. The blink for the Stalkers will be delayed. But again, ByuN's early pressure will be as well. So, now taking the expansion. The Cyclone. He saw the factory, but he didn't see the tech lab. And it's almost impossible to tell whether it's going to be a Widowmine drop or... Well, not anymore. That is one way to scout. He lost the Adept to the Cyclone. And Hero has 3 Stalkers and a single Zealot. Most notably, no shield battery. Though one is on the way in a very forward position. So, hallucinated Phoenix headed across the map. A Robo. A surprising amount of Marines because of that reactor early on. Spots the Cyclone. Hallucinated Phoenix manages to back off. I don't think ByuN was convinced that's real. So 1 shield battery. Gets some damage. 1 volley on the Cyclone. Working against the Marines. Blink is still 30 seconds out. A siege tank coming across the map, but ByuN doesn't want... Now he's figured it out. He knows he's not dealing with a exposed base, but instead a more entrenched one, which means Hero was set a little behind economically, but not nearly as much as if he had to defend his probes out on the front line. Hallucinated Phoenix just hanging out till it dies of old age, which, best case scenario, I guess. I can subscribe for existential dread. Robo is completed, and ByuN backs off, unwilling and or unable to get any more pressure. And honestly, as soon as he saw Hero back at his natural, I think any motivation to commit was reduced dramatically, as it's such a risk when you can maneuver between those bases much more easily. Hero, not just gonna sit back, all right? He's gonna sit up, and more importantly, blink up potentially into the main. He didn't even look for the tank. There was no hesitation. Which is Hero in a nutshell, but blinks in. Stim is denied. And the reactor on the starport might even get the medevac. Blinks out relatively smooth. Hero loses 1 Stalker. And the units lost tab definitely doesn't reflect the impact he just had. I believe ByuN, when an upgrade gets canceled / denied, you get all the money back. Not the time, though. And time is money, friend. Give or take. So thank you for spending it here, but... he just... there and back again. A hero story. He wouldn't just blink it again. He definitely would, and he just did. Hero snipes off the tank. Will stick around for a little bit longer. Maybe debating that idea. Still manages to get out losing only one more stalker, though the majority of them bruised in some fashion now. ByuN, unable to take even a single step outside his base before getting a whole lot of stalkers in his main. Took me a second to register that there was an observer there, but for the second round, there's another observer at the front. Hero's always watching. The Eye of Hero wanders mightily, but also omnipotently. Except when it doesn't. I have spoken. Colossus is on the way. The Robo-Bay is already done. The tech is around as the extended thermal lance has started off. Mine's much further along, and the Forge has begun as well. Hero already taking a 4th Nexus as ByuN takes his 3rd command center and builds it at his natural. Now, the mid to late game, which we sometimes never get past in Terran versus Protoss, can look a lot more like Zerg versus Terran than the Protoss you might see on the back of the StarCraft box. And if you have one of those, how's the back pain? But, but the efficiency of Terran units in a defensive position cannot be denied. Any Bronze League hero could tell you, though probably for the wrong reasons. Why isn't ByuN going battle cruisers? Good question. I wish he did, but... well, at the same time, the inability to move out is partially because of the threat of a warp prism, which Hero is making good on. The ability to warp in a cinematic of Zealots in the main. In fact, ByuN has 2 medevacs of bio, just waiting for either a blink, a warp in, or something in between, as it's very hard to bring your entire army and protect your base. Okay, divide and conquer. Whereas Protoss, in all their wisdom and all their glory, their main unit is a melee warrior who sprints into battle against a firing line of artillery and high-powered weapons. So they will bravely charge into and meet in glorious battle. But they become meat themselves as they meet with a huge amount of DPS. And, well, Hero's going to try to pick them apart. ByuN, with the defensive group here, the Stalkers, managed to blink out with, I think, only 2 more. Somehow Hero slides away with minimal losses, and ByuN's suspicions are confirmed. He sniped off another reactor on the starport. And Hero's just going to go in the front door. Extended thermal lance is done. Guardian shield, charge lots filtering through. But ByuN stands his ground. Now finally backing off once the Colossi get close enough. But the Zealots not nearly as good on retreat. And, well, do we have the... okay, we can watch it again. The battle... we don't have the battle report, but we have eyes. Unless you don't. Shout out to my blind viewers. Kind of have to. But the Zealots are... 18 Zealots dead. A grand total of 9 bio units have been killed this game. For the Terran. I guess technically Zealots are biological until they get ethereally promoted into like Dragoons or Immortals or whatever. But the Warp Prism, he went Warp Prism speed, Gravitic Drive. And the Zealots in the main, he's warping in a Sentry. Gonna try to force field the ramp, but a little bit too late on that one. As, oh, but the front line blinks in, takes out the tank, but there are 2 more. Disruptor shot in the midst of everything. 21 SCVs dead, but the majority getting eviscerated in the main by the charge lots. Total select all army hotkey there as he tries to bring everything together. Hero manages to lose a huge amount of his army. But it's not about how many units you lose. It's about how quickly you can replace them. Hero has lost almost twice the amount of resources. 37 Zealots. But ByuN is at 60 SCVs. Hero has 5 Nexi. And look at his vision. the eye of Hero continues to gaze upon pretty much the entire map, as the map is dark and full of Terrans, until Hero lights it up with a kind of obscene amount of observers. How many? Okay, there's 2. I guess Zealots are kind of... And Spylons. Pylons cost a lot less gas than observers. Infinitely less. If we're kind of twisting math terms. But, not to go off on a tangent. Ghost Academy on the way. ByuN is battening down the hatches. He's retreating into his shell. And, well, Hero is doing whatever the opposite is. Stripping off his shell and showing off what he's got. No. He's now taking Nexus number 6. Gateways, 10 gates, 2 robos, more gates on the way. ByuN is fully intending. I think I got into mentioning it, and we're going to have plenty of time, it seems, unless Hero just kills him. 4 base Terran against everything else Protoss. Now, you might wonder why not a Stargate. Vikings. Vikings is why. Vikings, very efficient against Colossi, and not bad at all against anything the Stargate can offer. So Protoss simply doesn't have any other options in most cases. We've seen Hero against ByuN use the mass Stargate style, but it's a little map dependent, and he does not seem to prefer it at all. He'd rather send 300 Zealots to glorious death than decide a fleet beacon is necessary in this matchup. But the supply depots, he's trying to charge through, but going around the corner into the Ghost, the Venn diagram of freedom, the Liberators raining down. Oh, sweet liberty. And again, Hero manages to lose. He's warping in. And even after the warping, the army supply just jumping off a cliff as he runs up one. Hero has now lost 14,000 resources to 7,700, but he's mined 6,000 more minerals, though 1,000 less gas, as he has a grand total of 4 assimilators. Meanwhile, ByuN has all 8 refineries and some forward gates. I'm surprised he's not doing a proxy nexus at this point in order to get the speed warping. Double Colossus production. Hero will continue bashing into the... So, how much more efficient? ByuN is just scanning. He's looking for Stargates. The only thing he needs to change here, potentially, is if Hero goes for Stargate and Storm. But Hero, his only Templar are the Dark version. Come back to us, Dark. And a Shrine to Dark is certainly a strong choice. The Ghosts will be cut off. Another Speed Prism. Meanwhile, the rest of the army sitting on the front doorstep. ByuN knows this, Hero knows this, but you can only have so many units in one place at one time. As both of them near 200 supply, 4 Colossi able to reach over the top with those fully extended thermal lances and incinerate a sensor tower. Hero is expanding. He's got about 10 Nexi now. 7 finished, 2 more on the way. A fusion core... Wait, it's been delayed. As the Zealots warp in, the Colossi find some massive swipes and then immediately get distracted. Meanwhile, in the main base, the Zealots, and here we go. And Hero starting to chop through. He gets the Ghost Academy, which is not too costly to rebuild, but we'll see if ByuN even noticed it happened. 16 more SCVs dead. But ByuN still has 65 of them, though a Viking knocks down the Warp Prism. Hero... So far, how many Zealots has Hero lost? That was not a rhetorical question. We're going to bring it up in a moment. Did you know he's lost 116 Zealots? He did not. It's 113, you noobs. You were completely wrong. Meanwhile, I was also wrong, but it was pretty close, so I think that's kind of impressive. Please clap. But, and how many more can he afford? He's currently mining 4,000 minerals per minute. So that's 40 Zealots per minute. The ZPM. The ZPM, as some of my Dutch content creator counterparts might call it. You might be like, oh, that one. No, the other one. That's who I'm insulting. But the other one's great. You know the favorite. You have a favorite Dutch StarCraft 2 content creator, right? Who doesn't? and a least favorite. Both are important. But I digress. And ByuN actually forgot about his fusion core. I feel like advanced ballistics for the Liberators is kind of a big deal at this stage, considering. But is Hero gonna go? He's trying to box out. The Zealots will find another angle. He'll just slice in. And double prism into the main. And oh, here we go. He's gonna do a huge warp in. And then he's gonna die immediately. And he's not gonna do the warp in. And that may have actually... ByuN the fusion core! He's getting building armor and high sec auto tracking. And he... Honestly, Hero just reminded him of the fusion core. Look at the mini-map, by the way. Hero has every single base but the 4 ByuN does. But ByuN just knocked down 2-3 Colossi for free. And the fourth one is not looking so healthy either. Hero still has 4K in the bank. That's barely a minute of work. That is... How many Liberators is too many? For either side? Is a question we're probably going to answer by the end of this. 5 Liberators lined up. Hero coming in for another round. He's just going to go forward. The Zealots to the north side, though, as ByuN struggling to maintain the army supply. The Liberators, he has to lift the orbital command. Hero's coming around again. He's rebuilding. He's refilling. He's not going to stop here. He's trying to mine through. Oh! Hero in the natural, bringing it around again. Disruptors mixed in. The Zealots cut off. Disruptor shots, double barrel. Oh, what a save! And for now, the Liberators will hold. Hero's still at 94 probes, which is a bit of a problem in and of itself. But ByuN has to be more than twice as cost effective. And there's mass blink DTs. He sieged up. Oh no, he just needs one more trip. Just send 10 probes. It doesn't matter how many you lose. The force field's helping out. He's gonna be forced to back off. And the DTs in the mix. There aren't enough Liberators to go around despite 125 army supply. There's not enough vision. Wait, what? How does he not see that probe? How did that probe live? He has vision. I don't understand. Why is that probe alive? What? This is the most important thing. I don't care about anything else. He has vision. Why did it not kill that probe? What kind of bribe? Is that like a quirk of the geometry again? None of that happening. And here comes that. He just keeps going. The DTs. There's so many DTs underneath. The Liberators are picking them off one by one. The planetary fortress holding, at least for now. But the Stalkers will knock down most of the Vikings. The Colossus will survive. And ByuN, if there was ever a time to pick up and go across. I keep getting hyped up, but ByuN is patient. He just realized he lost the Ghost Academy, but honestly, well, ghosts are always good. EMP is always good. It isn't quite as necessary. Advanced ballistics done. No Caduceus reactor for the medevacs, which means there's no medevac energy regen upgrade, which is kind of a big deal when you have 9 medevacs and they barely have any energy. So, clearly missing out on that one. There are currently 10 Nexi to 7 orbital commands, 4 mining bases, well, 3 mining bases, well, 2.25 mining bases. If Hero sends enough probes to break through that Liberator, as in, just at this point, I think Hero could send 12 probes, and that'd be a good thing either way. But ByuN finally moving out. As he needs at least one. What is this? Hero doing a Colossus drop, because of course he is. 7 kills. Picks off a medevac as well. Well, ByuN moving his way down. There are 15 Liberators. Me too. I don't know. It's a great. This is obscene. Liberation is at hand. The Olympic rings of freedom. Well, +3 shield. By the way, maxed out upgrades pretty much. And Hero's about to have +3 shields in 2 minutes from now, but the Stalkers will blink in. And the probe! The probe! He's going for the minerals! No, ByuN stops it! The mineral wall is the hardest wall in the game. He's sending 2 probe. Come on, let's see it. He's going for it! And he's mining! It's done! The Hero probe! In every sense of the term! He's opened up another path. Now, sure, the Terrans can cut off this tiny strait and really constrain the economy, but at the end of the day, the military budget of Hero is so high, and he's willing to spend it. As the Zealots make their way through, oh wow, the EMPs washing over the front. And ByuN, he still has money in the bank, he's still maxed out, he still has so much army supply. But another wave is warped in. Another 15 or so Zealots, he has 14 gates, 28 supply at a time, and even a single space gap. The Zealots opening up another front. ByuN. Do we have a permit for this, Sarge? I got your permit right here. No, that's not helpful. ByuN. Liberator. Just so many Liberators. A dozen of them. Hero is going with the fully attrition-based gameplay. Another Warp Prism, but he manages to survive and drag some more units away. Brings it around the corner. The Liberators yet again. ByuN at this point just mining through the... I don't know if he intentionally mined through or he's just completely and utterly broke. He has single-digit mineral patches left. Hero is still... He has 7,000 minerals in the bank. He's still mining over 3,000 per minute. ByuN's army supply is huge, but ByuN's economy is huger. But who is hugest at the end of the day? The important question everyone is asking is the Colossi try to rotate around again. The SCVs mixed into the fray. The Liberators holding the line across the board. But Hero continues to push it back from the outlying angles. And yet again, coming in for another round. The Liberators, the Colossi getting big swipes off. The Vikings, only 2 of them remain. But this is it. This is the last chance. It's do or die. As ByuN's income has dwindled to almost nothing. He drops the mules. But I don't think Hero will take this lying down. He needs to stop this economy because even a single another base could spell economic disaster because of the efficiency of the Terrans. He's building 4 disruptors at a time. He warps in another legion of Zealots. He brings it around the corner. And Hero is still going for it. The Vikings looking for an angle. Snipes off a couple more. Hero's army looks pitiful, but he still has so much in production. Another wave. The Liberator count. 9 Liberators, which a pale shadow of what he once had. But ByuN cannot max out. He doesn't have the money. And Hero, the Disruptors... Well, he goes in again, snipes off 1, gets a couple more. The lack of Caduceus reactor on that fusion core becoming very apparent. Disruptors down the center, big hit, direct connection. Everything softened up and burned away by the Colossi. And the purifying fire about the Novas and the extended thermal lances is lighting ByuN aflame. And keeping it lit is not something the Terrans are so interested in. The Disruptors fire into the former mineral wall, direct hit. Another chunk, and Hero whipped out the Disruptors. He had a few earlier, but the danger balls are certainly creating a zone of danger for ByuN, and Hero is just smothering him with the economic weight of having literally the rest of the entire map. ByuN has survived until the minerals ran dry. But unfortunately, he's gonna have to desert in this desert. GG! Hero takes game number 1 after losing only 267 Zealots, right? 259, 12 Colossi, 5 Warp Prisms, 91 Stalkers. He lost at the end of the day, after he finally finished off the army. The resource disparity was not... He mined 30,000 more minerals. Still 1,000 less gas as he leaned on those Zealots. But they carried him far enough. He charged across the field, and he charged a premium for it. And ByuN, he not only did he need another base, he needed to not deny Hero for a while. But he retreated to the 3rd base. And, or 4th base, rather. It's not hard. There were only so many options. He retreated to the 4th base and never... Well, by the time he put his neck out again, it was just incredibly exposed. Well, another hero unwilling, unable, or unneeded. Any sort of progression. We saw ByuN use some of his scans to scout for a tech transition. But hero... more. That was that. He went from some to more. 4 Raptors at a time. 14 plus Zealots. I don't know how many gateways he had by the end. At least 14. Which is enough to drain most of your minerals per minute. I think another thing. At least... maybe I missed it. But ByuN never sent out... at some point, it's just not even worth it to send out units to harass. He was playing the full economic engineering. Oh my. This is somewhere between a mild inconvenience and a mental health crisis, depending on how particular you are about your build, hero. Nonplussed. Ah. Is it a fake? Well, this time, ByuN cancels the engineering bay immediately. Will hero do the double back again? He's looking for the SCV. Of all the places to put a pylon, that is certainly one of them. Huh. Huh. That's my statement and testimony. That... it's just 100 minerals, bro. Like, what could it cost? And the scouting you get, it's gonna be a Stargate. Which, despite the drama, the fire and fury of that previous game, was never something... I don't even think it crossed his mind. The option for a Stargate. Whereas here on Winter Madness, I'm gonna try something different. Now, I think it significantly depends on whether ByuN goes for Cyclone first. The Cyclone can shut down pretty much, well, an Oracle especially. But a Cyclone is a great anti-air option. Widowmines can be good, but if you don't hit... the probe... how does he do this? The probe somehow slips by, despite the fact ByuN sent his Marines out to... well, and he'll get the scout on the factory. They'll be on building it far enough away that the add-on is not exposed. Interesting, he moves the factory immediately, which means not even a Cyclone. And that means 2 Stalkers are actually quite a threat. Though one of them missing a few shots there. Though, not exactly perfect, Micro. Now, the Oracle's just going to fly into the main base. It's not nearly as devastating as it would be against Protoss or Zerg, because the Oracle takes 3 hits to kill Marines or SCVs. They got a little extra bulk to them. A little more gear in the rear. Very intentionally, the math on that. But, alright. The Oracle getting any damage is already pretty huge. The Raven with Interference Matrix, and I'm not even sure that's a fake. Like... Interference Matrix is not... it's only 50-50 in cost. And, okay, it was. Just kind of leaving that ambiguity about whether he's going for a Banshee Cloak. So. The Oracle flying in. And then hanging out. But wait, there's more. Cool. And he has so much confidence to fly in. If there was a Widow Mine, there was no way he could have stopped. Like, the acceleration would have carried him too far. Hero very confident that he's got ByuN's build pinpointed here. And he's going Star Charge. And of course the Twilight's down there. He does not have a third, by the way. Might be thinking about it now. But quite notable, usually you get a third base before adding on your Gateway Explosion. But here... he's added on 5 more gates to his total of 3. making 8. There's that math again. The Ocho. Oh, the Oracle. Yeah, I see you too. Almost gets away, but Oracle in the natural. Does a little flyby. Slaps down the Revelation. So he has a beat on pretty much everything. ByuN doing not an unexpected style. It's going to be Marines. Couple tanks. Just one tank, actually. Okay, it's a little different. We got the triple threat on the way, though. That's the main trajectory here. The stim, the combat shield, the +1 infantry weapons. And he's building up a lot of energy on the Raven, which is kind of relevant. It's the Swiss Army knife, just like the Oracle, but anti-armor missile on Mass Zealot, or even some auto turrets to drag the charges, could make or break any push. Very much so. It is quite a force multiplier. The probe will spot the Raven, and it'll meet... Nope. Simpsons walking around me. Wait, he doubles back. The probe... My work here is done. I scouted the Raven. Oh, but ByuN with the pump fake. As he went back out with the Raven. Hero was moving to intercept him as he retreated. But instead, the boys! Wait, will Hero see this with the... Yes, he sees it with the stasis. The boys are on the way across the map. But here we go! ByuN gonna try to hit before there's any semblance of splash damage. The Templar Archives is on the way. Mass auto turret will knock out one Phoenix, but the Raven is kind of wasted. Which... Not exactly the ideal start to this. Especially... Well, he's stimming in. More charge lots. Picks up the tank. The Zealots... being bottled up by the SCVs. He's not even attacking half the time, which is just serving as a physical blocker. And the Zealot's kind of struggling. 12 SCVs dead on the front line. Hero warping in as fast as possible, but is it fast enough? Another Guardian Shield. The Phoenixes, only one has energy. A few Widow Mines mixed in. Oh, but the force fields are great! Or are they, Tony the Tiger? I don't... +1 infantry weapons. A few missile turrets at the front. The Zealot, he's out of Guardian Shield. The Widow Mines do terrible, terrible damage. Everyone badly bruised. He pulls the probes right as the last Zealots die. Knocks out the missile turrets, but the Marines in the red and the autumn colors, but not quite dead. And now, oh no, the Widow Mines will unburrow. A curious choice. He didn't want to drag him into his own Marines. The battle probes are fighting. Hero, somehow, I don't know why, more than any other Protoss by a large margin. Hero's probes. Both giving and taking so many kills. The probes managed to soften up some of the army, but it wasn't enough to turn it around. He's got 2 Archons. But is the power over or underwhelming? 2 Archons against a bruised bio army with almost no energy to heal. There are 3 Widow Mines, which are a double-edged grenade. Or regular grenade. If those Widow Mines are dragged into the Terran army by the Phoenixes, more than likely, easily could wipe out his own units. Somehow Hero's still in the game, despite losing almost everything there, because he does have Archons, he does have a charge lock counter, and ByuN pulled most of his economy, or at least a hearty portion. They're dead even on workers, which is mostly favorable to the Terran, but Hero's gonna make sure instead the workers are dead instead of even. 3, a lot of curious micro, and by that I mean actually very high level, but ByuN trying to manipulate the SCVs to still keep the Zealots busy without losing too many of them. Hero recalls 4 Zealots because of course he does, while losing more Zealots on the field because of course he does. Hero has lost a laundry list of things, but not the game. Storm is on the way. ByuN still bottled up on 2 base. Hero beaten back to it. Though, somewhat a tiny plus side is that he didn't mine from the natural because that was his 3rd base. So it will take a lot longer to mine out, which I don't know if that's going to be relevant, but if it comes to that, it's a small positive. Storm is on the way. Another thing that can really devastate economies, or I guess technically, but armies on a low economy. And ByuN, still 39 SCVs. Is he going to send more across the map? The main base is mining out. The mules do so quickly. The third base on the way. A single medevac. I don't think pulling the SCVs at this stage. He knows there are Templar. He saw the Archons. He might suspect Storm, and he certainly does now that he sees Templar unmerged. The Zealots dropping in, the Marines dropping in perfectly to create a choke point. Gonna deal with this, but he just goes right up the center. The Marauders out in front. Storm is ready. Uses one. Widowmine slams home. Catches a couple stray probes. There are a couple, he just boxes everything, just sends it. Everyone fights. No one quits. Service guarantees citizenship. And the battle probe on the front. You're scouting. Good job. He's trying to drag the Widowmines in, and he unburrows. The Prairie Dog Micro is good. He slices off the Widowmines. Another couple. Good target fire. Big hits. Caught between a rock and a hard place now. His hero can't come through there. He's going to try anyways. He does have the Storms. Throws one out. Knocks out a medevac. The Marines are split off. A bit of bio back at home. And is there energy recharge? No, 20 seconds. And that's too long. Feedbacks, merge. Actually, that helps out a lot. +1 attack for both sides. No other upgrades. Double medevac drop. Recall it to the main with just enough energy. There is no blink. He's rebuilding Phoenixes in order to help deal with the medevacs. And ByuN is on precious low economy. So is Hero, but we just kind of ignore basic conventions when Hero's involved. It's just how it is. Ignorance is strength. Weakness is also strength. Hero, believe it or not, strength. But there's no recall. And that means Hero has to go forward because there's going to be no home to go back to. The Bio's microed back. Some Templar cut off. But ByuN also out of position. The probes will suffer yet again. Energy recharge unavailable. A single Phoenix in the main. Hero recall is it's not going to happen. Moving the probes. He's back to his third base as his natural. A Zealot out in front. Retargets the Widowmine onto the Templar. There's no detection. He eats it. There was a ghost! He drops the ghost and it's the EMP! What a play! There's still a couple storms, but I think that might be enough. Still, the medevac's back at home, though the supplies are uncomfortably close. A single Templar! No! I'll kill them all! Oh no! A Category 5 storm! No, it does the damage not as a little more slowly than it once did. He kills off some more, but Hero's still dangerously close in supply. But just dropping in and out of the main base. The Marines and Marauders still doing terrible, terrible damage. Hero is somehow supply blocked in all this. Throws out a storm. The probes stray into it. Hero will kill off a couple of his own probes. The Marines and the Marauder still in the main. 9 probes dead. ByuN sent across the map. He's still on 2 bases, but his buildings can fly. Much like most of Hero's units can't, and that's becoming a real point of contention. But the Phoenix might be able to take out the medevac, but the main army at the front. The storms, there's a few ghosts ready. Knocks out the medevac, but the majority of the army. Recall is available. An EMP on the Nexus could deny it. He's walking his way home. ByuN is actually backing off. Hero's down to 30 probes. Hero's down to 82 supply. Hero is down in upgrade. And arguably down in unit composition. But Hero is not down this game. Not yet. ByuN keeps having the right army and arguably in the right place. But against Hero, it feels like there's no such thing as the right time. The feedback. The storm. Hero of the storm, if you would. Wades through it. EMPs. Feel like that storm did more to his own units. But he's not willing to give it up. He still has the Archons. He still has the storms. But the bio ball is coming together. The EMPs from the high ground. The Archons can weather several of them. But, of course, it's not just the EMPs they're worried about. The Templar gun down. Hero. The tide seems to be breaking. The storms waning. And the Terrans have weathered them. The Phoenix's EMP. Hero evaporates. The bio chases it down. He'll fight to the very last. The last Archon, the last Phoenix. There's one Templar and one Phoenix. That's his army. He's gonna scout like he's doing some research for the next game. Like that would be helpful. He wants to know if there's anything in the main. GG! ByuN ties it up. A hectic, topsy-turvy roller coaster of an experience, but I don't want to get off this wild ride. I want to get on. And then get into game number 3, because we're all tied up. These two have played. I don't know who played more in April, but fun fact, ByuN and Hero both played over at least 300 games. It was more. I know it was at least 300 in April. Professional games of StarCraft 2. I think about 40 of them were against one another. But between Hero and ByuN, they make up nearly 1/4 of all top professional, like all professional matches between, in tournaments with a prize pool over $100. That's what we track. Because, well, they keep showing up. I mean, for the GSL. And I want to take this time. I meant to do it last game, but things already got dramatic. I get a little carried away. Hopefully, it was enough to keep you. Anyways, so the Global StarCraft League is back. I know every year, if you're following closely, you know we have kind of a purgatory where will they, won't they? Does GSL still exist? What does it look like? Like, for about 6 years straight, we've wondered that. And this year, it seemed, without the Saudi blood money of the Esports World Cup, that GSL wasn't going to happen. Because last year was essentially bankrolled at the last minute in that fashion. But instead, we have a new sponsor for the GSL. You. Yes, the GSL is with a partnership with Soup. No, not the tasty drink meal. What is it a drink? Is it a meal? Not important, because that's not how you spell it. S-O-O-P. Honestly, I don't know what it stands for. It's the Korean streaming site. It's like Twitch for Korea, but better. It actually has really cool features, and technically you can see it in English. So GSL now sponsored by Soup, and also very importantly Patreon. That's how we got these matches to bring you. And if you got the means of motivation, you should check out GSL on Patreon. They have a whole list. It's not just like give us money and we'll put on a tournament every now and again. They got a whole kind of, well, I think roadmap is the best term that people recognize, even though it's not technically accurate. But a plan for how they plan to use the funding they already have and how they plan to use it in the future if they're able to secure more. So the summary is GSL is back on a regular basis. These matches are held online, but there will be an offline finals, I believe semifinals as well. So that'll be a whole in-person experience. Alongside the other Korean league, the Revival Star League, put on by Tasteless & Co. Might be like, it doesn't Tasteless also cast GSL? Believe it or not, has it always been Tasteless? Yes, it always has been. Shout out to Tasteless. Though hopefully not too loud, so you'll still watch here. But the summary, GSL is now funded by the people most interested in it, which is both you and me on Patreon. And also, and Jimmy, put a link in the description, or even in the comments, because no one actually reads the description. It's mostly just there for YouTube's terrible search AI to pretend to know what it's talking about. And yes, I know they just scrapes the whole video now. Okay, well, there's nothing we can do about it. It's just a cynical slide into a corporate dystopia. And edit this out. No overlords here, no sir. But I digress. Patreon.com/GSL, and if that's not right, Jimmy will have it right in the comments. But bringing us more good games to the fans, which is all I've ever wanted, and all I've focused on for more than half of my life now. As GSL and StarCraft 2 now going on 16 years. So, just about half. I remember more of my life with StarCraft 2 than without it. Like and subscribe for Existential Dread. Now we have a relatively standard start. Has there... One adept. We didn't miss anything crazy. There wasn't even an engineering bay block here on Ruby Rock. It's... For the first time, if you covered up the names, I would believe this is Clem versus Max Pax. But, no. ByuN versus Hero. The fun no longer... The significantly less cares and more drama. Despite being a decade older. This isn't the kids' table. This is the adults' war room. And there will be no fighting in the war room. I don't know. Apologies. I don't know what's with me today. GSL, ByuN versus Hero. That triggers something in me. Mostly nostalgia, I guess. Is that what that feels like? I don't know. Gonna flirt with the bunker some more. SCVs will be called to repair yet again. Not even a warp prism as Hero sits back, works towards charge. Knocks out another one. And, the boy who called repair. The ByuNker suffering some... It's a... Hello? You're fine. I'm literally on fire. How much further can we go with Hero not losing any stalkers? At least a bit. He has no high ground vision, but he doesn't need it in order to engage this army. The stalkers, well, gets one obliterated. Hero, well, one hand doesn't seem to know what the other hand is doing. As the stalkers try to work both sides, but ByuN has more than enough to deal with half a dozen stalkers on either front. Is he gonna... Wow. These were special stalkers for a counterattack. Well, here we go. It lasted this long. Sanity. But now snap back to reality. The recall into the main. But now that opens up the field for ByuN and blanking into the mineral line. But the Marines are dangerous enough. He's actually just taken out the stalkers. The main army, Guardian Shield. The siege tank too far in front. Sentry, aggressive, dead. That's a lesson. Be more aggressive, and then maybe you'll get there before the Widowmines, bro. No! Stalkers blink forward, but they can't see! Well, you blink too fast, and that's what happens. He had no vision past the blocker. The trees in the center. It loses another couple stalkers. Hero has gone from no losses to 7 stalkers, a sentry, a lot of production in the main. But ByuN does not have a third command center. It's only halfway done and at the natural. A troop of zealots sent out. Somehow, no matter what, Hero will have most of his units on the other side of the map. Are we just base trading? Sure, why not? There's nothing in the ByuNker. The main base, the SCV's on the ramp. The majority of the bio on the other side of the map. And there is no recall, but Hero still has some production. Warp in, will complete. The Widowmine's doing a lot of damage, but it could have been worse. The Probe's force field is dubious at best. The Zealots take it out on the other side. Trying to chase up the ramp. The Probe's on the battle line, of course. He's starting to whittle down the medevac count, though. Guardian Shield incredibly helpful. Blinks. Knocks out one. More Stalkers. Oh, no, that one's full. and he barely drops any out. ByuN! He dug too deep and too greedily. And now he loses every single unit on the ground, and he may end up losing the medevacs in the sky as well. Another boost. The blink barely makes it around the corner. But ByuN is now down 30 supply. It's a disaster. And I don't know if he can retreat into his shell in the same fashion we saw in game number 1. As Hero is knocking on the door, and there's not even a bunker to answer. The Zealots, Widowmine's not retargeted. Force fields are all, well, there you go. He picks up and drops him out on the Hero, just surgically amputating parts of the army. The runs out of force field, so that's the most dangerous time. The Widowmines target, splash over the Terrans as well. 20 SCVs dead, and Hero's just chopping his way through. ByuN will not be able to turtle up. He'll not be able to take Hero down. And Hero will survive and take the series 2-1. The first series, that is. As our anti-spoiler series is ByuN versus Hero again. Yes, they met twice for extra drama. So, Series 2 begins on Winter Madness. Another best of 3. But Hero survives and turns the tables on ByuN. They both went about their business. ByuN maybe got a little bit complacent, I think. Assuming that bio was good enough, but Hero's completely unexpected, yet predictable randomness almost. Once again, ends up working out. Like, we might see, a lot of the time, it's unfair to Hero. Other times, it's completely fair. But sometimes he just throws things out there, and it looks bad. But a lot of the time when he's doing that, he has the economy, he has the production to back it up. He might lose 4 Stalkers blinking forward into a complete blind wall of bio. But he's keeping the bio busy and driving, or even when he loses those Stalkers, sometimes it baits ByuN or other Terrans, Clem notably, into taking a bad fight out of a false sense of confidence. So, oh sure, yeah. All right, proxy barracks. The underdog move. But ByuN going for the bamboozle. Right now, well, will Hero be fooled? Hero not one to be found a fool on regular occasion. He usually does the opposite, but he's looking for the command center. There's another supply. That's a tech lab. ByuN doing his classic 2 racks bio play, but in a very different fashion. Think Hero's got some suspicions. His star sense is tingling. The stench of cheese upon the air. And you know the Protoss must have a keen sense of smell, because they don't have a sense of taste. Which explains why Tasteless is Protoss. Brought it around. But the Zealot... Oh, wait. And I may have been mistaken. I don't think he was scouting. He was trying to evade a Reaper. He didn't know about the reactor. He's just assuming a Reaper was built, which is not a bad assumption. How long... The fact there's no command center, which isn't even necessarily a tell. Here's the thing. ByuN could be building it on the high ground. And I don't think there's any easy way to know that. Is concussive shells done? Oh, no. Hero. Completely and utterly blindsided. Hoodwinked. Led astray. And the bunker rush is coming together, though I don't know if it's even going to be relevant. He starts a shield battery. The probes are pulled. The Zealots on the other side. The Marines are coming across the map. With the concussive shells, though, the Stalker... The SCV not going to get the bunker rush done, but... The Stalker taken down. This is already a disaster for Hero. He doesn't have any units. I think he canceled Blink or never started it. One Stalker and one Zealot are not enough to deal with this whatsoever. And wow, what a save on the pylon with the shield battery, but it exhausts the rest of the energy to try to, well, it was a self-preservation move, as without it, the shield battery doesn't work at all. But the probes once again on the front lines, but this time at 4 minutes into the game, not exactly the ideal scenario. He's already lost 14. The Stalker count is not high enough. And ByuN takes game 1. Not willing to make things complicated, but instead simplifies them quickly with a incredibly well-met. He sold it perfectly. He built the barracks back at home. He did everything on time. I don't know if he cut any SCVs, but ByuN scrapes away a game. Probe scout at the beginning of the game. Here, we're back on Ruby Rock. Wouldn't be surprised if we have the 3 same maps 2 series in a row, because players have a tendency, well, especially players who play this much, have a tendency to follow the similar process on the vetoes. So if you can narrow down the amount of maps, I don't know if Hero necessarily follows that same trend, but ByuN definitely does. If ByuN could play on just 3 maps for the rest of his career, I feel like he would. Most Terrans would. It's like, how about we just play on, Steps of War for the rest of every game, all right? Just, how about just one map? Maybe we put some towers around it, and maybe we just control one unit and have a bunch of auto bet. Wait a second. We'll call it Defense of the Command Center. .c or something. Working title. But I digress. ByuN. This time it's a Reaper. It's 2 Reapers. Not twice as many. Infinitely more. Again, questionable than the previous game. He's going to go for the aggressive 2 gas. Get the factory early. He's hunting for the probe. Crouching Reaper, hidden probe. He knows it's around. Hero never sends the probe right back. He never does. And in fact, he's right. And, well, guess who came back? Oh, just perfect timing. Hero winning the war. Neither side knows it, but Hero just won the mental war. Not too surprising, as mind games are usually more important to him than any other sort of more tangible things. 2 Reapers very technically can beat 1 Stalker, especially if they land the grenades, but there's not just one. That's not how it works. The probe gets up the ramp, and there it is. Brought some minerals and a diplomatic offering, I'm sure. Well, he saw the command center building as well. I don't think he was necessarily trying to hide it, but did ByuN screw up his wall off, or is that intentional? Unclear. Let's decided that's the spot. Oh, maybe the probe blocked where the barracks was supposed to go originally. And I, in perfect caster mode, completely didn't pay any attention. Alright, my mind is already melted from the first series. I don't know. Charge! Charge? Charge? Charge. I've spoken. Hallucinated Phoenix sent across, but there's no indicator here. So somewhat paradoxically, despite the more tech-oriented start, ByuN is more defensive, which feels like, I don't know why, but I think it was a mistake to bring both Reapers back. I think they could have stayed at least near the other side of the map. He may have suspected a significant amount more aggression than he ended up getting, which would not be surprising, but what do we have here? Oh, charges it. So if this was Blink, this is a great timing. A very dangerous one. A siege tank, a half dozen Marines, a Cyclone, but charge lots on the other hand. Well, these aren't charge lots. They're Zealots. They're slow. Okay, that's not derogatory, but their charge is done, and suddenly, okay, wait a second. Saves the tank. He's not going to be able to blink to chase anything down, but this gets shut down immediately. The charge lots chasing after the Cyclone, which will eventually get... Yep. Faster, Billy. I'm going as fast as I can. I don't... There we go. Chase down. And not even too much off the beaten path. ByuN will build a wall to keep the Protoss out. And it will be successful for now, right? 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 Ah, yes, the sentry leading the charge of the charge. But unlikely to break through. And there's no reason to. He has no obligation. As there's a third Nexus already on the way. So not only did Hero stop this before it started, but he's already ahead economically. ByuN tried a much more... He tried to cut off Hero before he got the tech, but Hero went low this time and met him on the field. The Robo Bay, the Colossus Den is completed. Blink has begun. Colossus halfway there. Stim Combat Shield +1. ByuN is building a third command center unprovoked. He's building it like he actually wants a third, as opposed to begrudgingly getting one. Which is rare for Terrans, and we've seen from ByuN in this matchup. A single casual Banshee. Which... Well, okay. If Hero forgot how to build Stalkers, there is no cloak. It's just a scouting band. Okay. There's a shield battery in the main, but it'll get... Okay, well, And so the saga ends. But enough about that. Observers, Zealots. Thermal Lance about to be completed, but ByuN, he may be settling in. If he sees even a single Colossus, I think we're going back into turtle mode. ByuN building the barracks that makes almost a full wall to funnel Zealots into a choke point. A Dark Shrine on the way. Quite early on in the grand scheme of things, getting it like barely 100 supply. So... significantly more aggressive intentions, I think. Not just the late game warp in 14 DTs and barely not kill a planetary move, which seems to be quite popular. Stalkers playing footsies with the Marines. Marines can fly with the medevac, which seems a little unfair, but here we are. Life isn't fair. Hero, even on supply, warps in another round, which skews that perspective a bit. And does he just smash this? There are 3 tanks. Hero doesn't have +1. He's going to attack seconds before it, but upgrades are for nerds. Now, more Widow Mines, but Charizard's coming forward. Stalkers, Colossi, and he has the Warp Prism to potentially juggle. The Vikings trying to get some shots, but wow, the Marines Marauders are just evaporating. He gets a Warp in. Doesn't target the Prism in time. The Marauders are coming forward. Tries to knock down the Colossus. Doesn't save one. Looking for the other. And, well... the Vikings will survive. The Charge Lots will as well. And ByuN left with absolutely nothing on the ground. And that means his third command center Now, he took so much damage to the charge slots, he's in danger of losing it to Stalkers. But Hero will back off for a moment. The medevac on the other side looked like it was headed back home, but decides to try a counterattack and will reveal the Dark Templar. Oh, he definitely saw that. But a single Colossus is more than enough home defense. That's a home defense Colossus. And every family should have one. Get one for the kids. Hell yeah, brother. But Ghost Academy's on the way. And ByuN, this is not a game on 10,000 feet. ByuN is going to struggle to take a third base at all. Whereas Hero is working his way back up in supply, but he has 4 Nexi. Can add more at his leisure, and I'm sure he will. Getting Spylons all over the place. The biggest risk is committing to an attack and then ByuN base trading and killing like 2 bases while you defend, or while he defends, which is possible. It's happened before. I'm sure it'll happen again. The DT Blink feels gratuitous here. The DT Blink actually feels like one of the few ways Hero might be able to throw this game. But it very much could expedite a victory as well. As the Dark Templar just strolls in. ByuN didn't notice. He raises the depot like he noticed, but it was a little bit too little and a little bit too late. He's gonna slice through the Blink in the main, the scan. He's forced to use multiple scans. The DT's at the 3rd, the army's right there. EMP actually reveals the DTs, manages not to hit his own orbital, but the main base, the Dark Templar, and he cannot afford. Oh, but wait, there's more. Reinforcements have arrived. What a cinematic experience. The DT set the scene, cleared the way, and now the Zealots will be warped in. And as the Zealots are warped in, the army heads in the front. As Hero with a 1, 2, 3, one after another, the dominoes fall. And the Vikings might be able to engage the Colossi, but the Zealots are out in front of the bio, and much of it has already been cauterized. Zealots on the Chew Toy Depot. 22 SCVs already dead. And the minimap is full of red. The engineering bay killed. There's another one, but the Colossi working on the orbital command, which is not the ideal target, but there's no bad ones at this stage. Still a DT in the natural. Slices up 39. GG! We're all tied up and going to game 3 yet again. And a bit of a convoluted experience. But the quintessential Hero ByuN gameplay. Why you like this? DT Blink. Hero in the... He loses, he's out. And... But still, whips out the DT Blink. Was it the safest play? No. Was it more fun? Absolutely. And which do you think Hero, more than any other player out there, prioritizes? The Forrest Gumpian school of Protoss who don't build good. Could not have timed that better. He's sending a second probe to follow up on the first probe, which is proxying a gate in the middle of the map. Is it just one? Is this a Max Packs build? Of sorts. And the beauty of this is he minimized the amount of time that the probe would... In fact, the probe barely stopped. It just whipped out a pylon and continued on its way. Another probe came to follow it up. But the advanced team, Hero wasted less than a second in getting to ByuN's base to make sure his workers were uncomfortable. So there's going to be no suspicion. And ByuN did not send out an SCV scout. And if he sent out an SCV, it'd probably be doing a roundabout pathing in order to go for an engineering bay block. And it wouldn't be scouting right down the center of the map. Because what Terran does that? How pedestrian. How mundane. How boring. Terrans think they're better than that. They can keep thinking all they want. But actions speak louder than words. Especially when you don't have a mouth. Like Protoss, like Hero, like a Zealot being chrono boosted across the map. Hero. Now, it will be a Reaper. And if he doesn't build a reactor immediately, The fact that he's sending the Zealot, like, he knows the time. He's gonna go hide in the corner. The Reaper, is the Reaper gonna hunt for the probe, or is it gonna go directly across the map? The game, oh, is he gonna play Crouching Reaper, Hidden Zealot? Oh my. Surprise! We're doing this again. But wait, there's another Zealot. Does he realize, or is he just gonna make sure he can defend the wall? I think he realized that there's probably more than just one. And, well, you can't repair the reactor until it's done. But it will complete. Now there's a Stalker. This is all off one gate. And he's working on... And 2 Zealots have quite a bit of DPS. He backs off. 1 HP. 0 fucks. The hero experience. Absorbing the shots in order to kill and damage SCVs. But wait, there's another Stalker. Here we go again. Oh, and it just keeps going. The Zealot, that was... Okay, that was just a little sad. And ByuN, the bunker in time, the reactor repaired, loses 1 SCV, gets 2 Zealots, so... At what cost? Was it worth it? I have no idea. Obviously, would have loved to kill anything. But he did severely delay the expansion. He forced out a bunker. He delayed the rest of the tech. And there are a lot of bruised SCVs, which could become relevant if Blink... Oh, it's charge again. But it could become relevant if ByuN doesn't repair them, which is not unlikely. I feel like against Hero, you really should have your SCVs in full repair. A Banshee cloak? I don't think it's a bad idea. He doesn't know it's charged, by the way. That's very important. You don't go Banshee what? You don't go for Banshee speed as a fake. It costs more than cloak. There's no reason to fake it. Banshee speed against charge lots. This is actually great for ByuN. If he suspects it's charge, this is genius. And if he thinks it's blink, it's a little more questionable, but... Huh. Well... Huh. I don't trust myself to make any confident statements here. As... This is something very new. And the thing is, Hero, he's going to scout with the hallucinated Phoenix. He's going to see Banshees. Okay. He's not going to think that's Banshee speed. Banshee speed means, especially without blink, you don't catch... Does he? What? Stargate. So... Maybe that's just a reaction to the Banshees and not having blink? But it feels like you don't go Stargate unless... Because even blink stalkers are terrestrially bound. The Banshees are just too fast. The only unit Protoss has that can keep up with them are Phoenixes. I believe that's true. I guess technically charge lots, but charge lots can't jump high enough. So... This is actually a hard counter, by the way, because they don't have cloak. So, Hero is reading him like a book, and I honestly am surprised he knows how to read it all. He spots the speed. The Phoenix is coming out. So, ByuN will still get a lot of damage done. I lied. Okay, we kills 3 probes, which we're going to sell like it's a lot, but it was not. That was horrible. Yeah. Hero just completely slapped this out of the sky like a hand of God on a plane. I gotta... Or like anti-air dedicated fighters against anti-ground dedicated helicopters. So if you haven't checked out Beyond All Reason, you can check out the second channel, Winter Gaming TV. And that is a little more relevant. But well, that didn't do anything. I really thought ByuN was gonna come out far ahead. But Hero, of course, subverting expectations yet again. He doesn't even go blink. He doesn't have blink in production nor completed. He just went for 2 Phoenixes instead, which is kind of wild in its restraint and its direct counter. Wow. That's crazy. What did he just... Oh, that was just an accident. It happens. Misclick, right click. +1 attack on the way. Hero with Colossus. Extended thermal lance. Oh, hard supply block for Hero. But how many tanks? 1. And he's not bringing it with the army. It's back at home to defend against counterattacks, which is a safe bet. But Hero still has those 2 Phoenixes, which actually could be quite a wrinkle for ByuN to deal with. Especially considering the Widow Mines, which work both ways. We've already established. It's only just 1 Colossus. That supply block may end up hurting Hero quite badly. He needs a second Colossus. 1 is not enough. It's being chrono boosted pretty desperately. The Widow Mines. ByuN splits off a drop. Widow Mines, he's just teasing them. Very optimistic Nexus. ByuN trying to find an angle. And Hero misses it entirely. Oh no! Oh, whoa, he commits the entire army. ByuN with a bait and switch. It's perfect. There's no energy for recall in the main. There's a minefield to chase it down. ByuN. Oh, no. It's a disaster for Hero. And a Colossus just steps up into it. Oh, it's all going sideways. ByuN. Tearing apart. Knocks out the 4th base. Guts the 3rd. 13 probes. The Hero. The refugee probes on the other side of the map. He doesn't have energy for a recall, so they're just going to have to walk back. Another Colossus on the way. ByuN with the drops of the main, but the lack of blink is glaring at this stage. A couple... No! He's going to eat some hits directly. But Hero bringing it all together, including the probes, apparently. But back at home, there's a bunker. There's that siege tank, which repositioned for some reason. Hero realizes that his probes are... maybe taking a bit of a weird vacation. Oh no. They're in... he gets them on both ends. A few will survive to tell their friends what happened here. And Hero is behind in workers. ByuN has a 3rd command center done. Hero's still not going for blink, which is this one of those games where Hero just decides that he doesn't do blink? Oh, the Phoenix will finish it off. And ByuN does lose another medevac. Hero does this sometimes, and we saw it last game as well, like a different style. He just decides this is how he's playing now. Come hell, high water, or devastating losses. But the Phoenixes are helping with the medevac, so they're technically much better at anti-air. Just a costly invest... Hello? ByuN's like, are you going to kill me? We've all felt like that now and again. I can subscribe for Existential Dread. 3rd base on the way. Hero's still somewhat close in supply, but a 2nd starport is already on the way. ByuN, I think, recognizing his position. He doesn't need to risk it anymore. He's done the damage. And if he goes for the double starport, he's already got Ghosts on the way. And Mass Viking is good against Colossi and Phoenixes. Ghosts are just good against Protoss in general. So ByuN is going to have, on paper, all of the counters. But we don't play this game on paper. Though some of you might play it on tabletop now. More on that soon. The Forge is in quite an exposed position. He takes down the rocks down the center, but Hero, he's not. The most valuable fact is he's not dead. Despite suffering what for most players would be game-ending losses, he has MacGyvered his way back into not a comparable position. But he isn't dead. He's just going to send these zealots in. But there's no reason they should do damage because the entire army's back at home. In fact, he's going to lose a few, but that does help. He didn't actually see the main army. ByuN over here with a Scandinavia of Vikings. So the mind game hero finally decides blink may be required. Begrudgingly, it feels. But blink and disruptors. He scouted there's so many Vikings that it's just not. It's not going to happen. Colossi will be toppled immediately. So the disruptors, more of a wild card. A Warp Prism? Is that Templar? No. If it was Templar, this could have been devastating, but well, he doesn't have Storm either, so. The Warp Prism keeping him busy. The army scouted. The Viking volleys already wiping out the shields of a Colossus instantly. The EMP doing the same. There's only one disruptor. And, well, he's just standing. The Colossi getting swiped. Another disruptor shot. This actually, well, he loses every single Viking. Hero immediately makes another Colossus. It wasn't good for Hero, but it wasn't bad either. As ByuN literally just lost every single Viking in that. How many Vikings dead? 10. And he didn't even kill the Colossi. So ByuN may be feeling overconfident, and it will cost him. Is it enough to bring Hero back into a comfortable position? Absolutely not. He is and will be for the foreseeable future in a very uncomfortable spot, which for Hero might be where he thrives, but 64 to 60 workers plus 2 attack. Blink is now done. Feels like it takes an age and a half, especially in the mid-game. ByuN's getting 2-2. Most importantly, he's barely lost anything back at home. Most of these games have been defined by whether or not Hero is able to slaughter the mineral line. Because even if ByuN gets a win on the field, having a mediocre economy back at home means eventually, well, Hero's going to attempt it, but ByuN has enough reinforcements to cut it off immediately. The Warp Prism in the main, goes for the Warp in, army on the field. ByuN, I think, caught a glimpse of the obvious location Hero's located. Stalkers working their way forward. Warp Prism knocked out of the main base. Hero down 40 supply. So, of course, he's going to go forward. ByuN doesn't know that. Disruptor shot, clips a few Marauders. Another fadeaway shot will finish them off. Another one right through. And one very unlucky Marauder gets a direct hit. But now he's on the chase. Somehow concussive shells slow it down despite the hovering. And pops a couple Ruptors. Hero has more on the high ground. He still has 3 Colossi. There aren't that many Vikings. 5 Vikings in total. So without the ship weapons and the 2-2 upgrades, this is still a precarious position for ByuN, but thankfully for him, in about 15 seconds, all those things will be done. And then ByuN will be the one having the fun. Hero will be on the run. And his chances of winning will be slim to none, as the sheer amount of Vikings and gun. But Disruptors out in front. EMP pops him. 1, 2, 3, and another one has to be flung off to the side to avoid hitting his own zealots. More EMP softens up the Stalkers. Snipes off some of the Vikings, but again, deja vu. We've just been in this base before. Another base will be taken down. The reinforcements will be cut off, but the probes will be slaughtered by the dozen. And Hero will have to go forward, because he's losing every semblance of a home to go back to. But he's going to cut off the army. ByuN still at 190 supply. Able to refill from his losses. Chasing it down on the field. Dodges the EMP with the blink. Another EMP, though, softens up the Stalkers as he's just tearing through. He's working towards it. Hero on the chase, but the army's coming together. ByuN has done so much damage. Hero wildly out of position. The Disruptors fling out a couple shots. One very unlucky ghost. Another shot. We'll keep everything away for now. But Hero is running out of real estate. He's running out of supply. And he's running out of time. He has +3 upgrades, but otherwise the economy, he needs the disruptor hits. But the Viking count beyond the high ground pops a couple, another 2. Good. Is it good enough? I don't think so. The Vikings can hit the deck. The disruptors trying to work their way through. Another one in the back corner, but there's nothing left. Hero is completely wiped off the field. And ByuN is tearing right through it. Hero, 69 supply. But the only nice position is ByuN's, as he's able to turn it around. ByuN takes the series 2-1, which brings us to our 3rd series. Hear me? So, full disclosure of this GSL. To add to the drama, and because I had a preference, the first series was the second one. That means Hero moved on in the GSL. ByuN was knocked out because of that first series, which I guess it would have made more sense seeing Hero heat up, but for dramatic effect, and because I love that first game so much. But Hero does move on, but they trade series, and once again, these two just bullying each other in a kind of revolving door that smacks into the back of each of them repeatedly. And while you're visualizing that, it'd be awesome if you have the means and motivation. You could visualize me navigating this sentence to say, you should check out Patreon or YouTube memberships or the GSL Patreon as well, of course. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So, and make sure to check out, thank you to our meal tier patrons, by the way, Big Jake and Devendor, Kate, Crazy Mouse, Mario, Suit. And make sure to check out this video Jimmy picked out just for you. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. Hope I made your day a little bit better. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.